Hey Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good, Pat. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're ready finally to get back and do episode 17 of Pickleball Today, the pod. I'm excited about it. This is Patrick Batty, Pickleball Today, and I'm with
Mark Biddorf.
Mark Biddorf. Mark is a coach at Court Pickleball Center in Kitchener, Ontario. I'm a level 1 trainer myself, but I am a founder of Cambridge Pickleball Club, Cambridge, Ontario. For those who are new to us today, Pickleball Today is, Canada's national pickleball news source and podcast. But, Mark, I don't know if you've known, but our stats are showing 2/3 of our audience now is in the U.S. Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's, obviously 10 times the population, and pickleball is a bit ahead of us, but we've never particularly aimed at the U.S. We've talked about the U.S. because we talked PPA Tour and things like that, but 2/3 is in the U.S. So thank you guys for listening to us if you're in the U.S. Thank you those are in Canada and across Canada, and we have some around the world. So appreciate all of you. I just want to, we want to tell you a little bit about why we've been away for so long. I think our last podcast was 6 weeks ago. A little bit of lack of planning on my part, and then things that we couldn't avoid. So first of all, Mark, you've been traveling a lot, haven't you?
Yes. Had some family trips. Went to New York City with the big family, the extended family. And then after touring New York City for a bit, went on a cruise for a wedding. So that's why the whole extended family and everything, cousins, aunts, and uncles were together. My aunt got married on the cruise ship. So that was a very fun adventure. And then came back, coached a few lessons here and there, and then toured out east again to
And then
Rhode
went away
Island.
again.
Then I went away again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Pat's
left me
injured.
hanging again.
Pat's injured, couldn't play. I was like,
Yeah,
oh man, I need to get out of here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
went back out. Yeah, so did
You
Rhode
did, and then
Island.
oh man, Rhode Island. Where else?
Yeah, Rhode Island, Cape Cod, and Boston. So I went to a Jays game, Boston and Red Sox against the Jays at Fenway Park there. That's a very cool experience, just the atmosphere
Yeah,
there. Went to
yeah.
my first polo game, USA against England. That was, again,
Where
very
was
cool experience.
where was that?
That's in Newport, Rhode Island. So that's
Oh
where
yeah, I knew they had polo there. Yeah,
the Team USA plays out of there. So
yeah,
I would
yeah.
definitely go back to a polo match again. Like, I'm hooked after one. Like, that's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been to a couple myself. They used to do them, and I don't know if they do now, north of Toronto. And there's a polo
Mm.
field up there. I don't know if it's there anymore with all the building that's gone up there. I wouldn't be surprised that it's been made into a subdivision or
Condo or
something like that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure. Um,
Yeah.
I've been away as well, a little bit, but not as much as you. You mentioned you were on a cruise ship. I've been on a cruise ship. That's actually going to be one of our topics today. And I didn't mention
Mhm.
our topics, but we're going to talk about pickleball on cruise ships. Um, I went at the end of, what was it? End of July? Yeah. And no, pardon me, end of August.
No,
And
end of August. Yeah.
yeah, end of August. And lovely cruise through the St. Lawrence River, multiple stops in Canada along the way, in Quebec, up over Newfoundland, down to St. John's, Newfoundland, then a long ride, 2 days and one night through the end of a hurricane. Lovely
Oh.
experience. On the way to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then went down to Portland, Maine, and then ended up in Boston. And through all that, I played pickleball on the cruise ship. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then on very, very last day in Boston, I walked about 20 kilometers, and I did in my groin lifting my bag. I did my groin injury in again, lifting my very heavy cruise ship bag onto a water taxi. So that set me back another almost month. So that's why I haven't been able to play for such a long time. Anyway, um, as well as that, we had well, I won't even get into some of the other things, but the key thing is we're back. And it's been a nice summer other than an injury. I haven't been able to play for the better part of 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And I had, big plans on, doing more lessons with you all summer, whenever you weren't on a cruise. And, 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 getting in a couple tournaments and all that went away. I'll tell you what. So you don't want a groin injury, but, and then we'll get into some stretches. We'll do it in a future episode, but we'll get into some stretches that are specific to help prevent it. And I didn't do mine, by the way, playing pickleball. I did it in another inventive way.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
why
the
don't we
worst
talk?
part.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
worst part. You
yeah,
didn't do it during pickleball, but then you couldn't play
yeah.
pickleball.
And then I couldn't play pickleball. And pickleball is a
Yeah.
little bit has been my obsession for a year and a half since my
Yeah.
wife's hospitalized with Alzheimer's. And it gives, as much as I visit her a fair bit, and I still work a little bit, but it's on my own and it's not a lot of time. So I still have time in my hands. I want to get out. I want to socialize. I want to keep exercising. And pickleball is my sport of choice, and it still is. But not being
Yeah.
able to play for 6 months kind of means it's time to get back.
Hmm.
Time to get some of this weight off that kind of piled on over the last well, a week on a cruise ship doesn't help neither. But
No, definitely not.
yeah. So speaking of cruise ships, I'm going to talk a little bit, Mark. Now you didn't have pickleball on your ship, is that right?
That is correct. I didn't pick
Yeah.
the ship, clearly, because that would have been a
Yeah.
requirement. But
Yeah.
yes, I did not have pickleball, so it was just a week of no pickleball and just, relaxing by the pool more that style.
What cruise line were you on?
Norwegian.
Norwegian. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm certain some Norwegian ships would have it.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I believe
yeah.
they do. Just
I
this one didn't.
I've been exploring the topic a fair bit, and I explored before I even picked a cruise to go on. And first of all, pickleball on cruise ships is getting very, very popular. Um, there are many different classes of cruise ship. There are never many different demographics of people that go on cruise ships, and some cruise ships, aim at certain demographics. In other words, like Disney, aims at parents with kids.
Yep.
And I can't imagine too many seniors like me on their own would go on a Disney cruise, right? I'm not that I
No,
don't like
I
kids,
don't.
I like kids, but I'm not going to go on a
Yeah.
Disney cruise and be surrounded by kids, right?
Yeah.
So demographics like me, um, Holland America is a big one oriented, to the 45 plus crowd, I would say, maybe even 50, 55 plus crowd. But Holland America has got pickleball on every single cruise ship,
Mhm.
and even older ones, and even their smaller ones. So that's kind of cool. And that's the cruise line that I went on. In fact, I went on what is the oldest, and a lot of people like it. A lot of people really love this ship, but the oldest and smallest ship on their line. A lot of people like the smaller ships because, well, it's not 5,000 people,
Yeah.
and you kind of get to know everybody a little bit, right? Now, wasn't tiny. It was still, 1,200 or 1,300 people or something like that, guess. But it's not a massive, massive ship. Yet they had pickleball on that. In fact, they had two courts. The ship that I went on is called the Volendam. Each one of their ships ends in dam. They just call them the damn ships. And um, and it's quite a cruise line. It's a nice cruise line. It's a bit of an upscale one, but not super super premium like some. In fact, I went on a standby basis, and if you look up hollandamerica.com/standby, this is not an affiliate link. I'm not promoting them. You'll see that you can get on a cruise fairly affordably through their standby program. But you need some flexibility because you're only going to get about 3 or 4 days notice before the cruise departs of whether you're actually on or not. Most people like to know in advance, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got on, and it was a great cruise. Now they had two pickleball courts on that cruise ship, and this is their ship is the only one I can comment on that I've been on, but I've looked up a lot of the others as well. The bigger ships tend to have more courts. Um, some other cruise lines tend to have a big complex with six courts.
Mm.
This is not a massive cruise ship, so they didn't have a single area where you could have two wide. So they had two back to back on one side and one on the other. Pardon me, it was just one on each side. I apologize for that. It was one of their other ships had the two back to back. The courts are full dimension. The outer walls are glass so that the wind is not blowing up about 8 feet high, I would say. But the wind is blowing when the ball goes above that. So, which makes for interesting play.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing on it. Number one, I met people because I was traveling by myself, which is different. I met people that were really nice. We had things in common. We had drinks afterwards. Drinks are free, so or you can get a package where they're included. And it was a good way for a solo traveler to meet other people with a similar interest.
That makes
Some of the
sense.
players were very good. Yeah, and some were new, some were tennis players that had never played before, but I was quite impressed at how fast they were picking it up,
Mm.
right? And I truly enjoyed it. I'm not that I'm going to go on a cruise to play pickleball, right? You're not
Yeah. Yeah.
going to spend a couple $1,000s to go on a cruise and spend all your time on a pickleball court. But it's a nice thing, especially if you're not going to do a day tour that day, an excursion or whatever it is, or it's a day at sea. Not the day at sea that I had because the boat was rocking in that end of a hurricane, but a day at sea, you got lots of time to kill. You want to get some exercise in, right? There's a gym on board. You can walk the promenade decks and go around the ship, and which was interesting in that you might have wind on one side of the ship but not on the other, and or a tailwind as you're walking around one way, and then you get to the other side of the ship and you got a 25 knot wind in your face, um, which again means the pickleball can be quite different on one side of the ship than on the other side of the ship,
Yeah.
right? Because of the wind. So at one point when we played, I hit a shot that was a little higher, like a lob, not quite a lob, but up there, and it got above the glass windscreen, and literally the ball just went up and then took a right turn, like a 90-degree right turn as soon as it hit the wind.
Yeah. Do
And,
they have a netting up there just in case the wind just takes
yeah,
it
they
right
do have a
over?
netting. Yeah, yeah. You're not going to hit the balls off the ship, but
Oh,
you'll hit
okay.
them into the wall on the other side. And
Gotcha.
that's what mine did. Is it hit the it was blowing in, and it hit the
Mm.
you took the ball, and literally it was going straight like towards the center of the court, straight on, and then so that's a little different. The other
Yeah.
thing is on a retrofitted ship like this, as much as they have the room, or they on this ship they did have the room for full size courts, they don't have a lot of room on the around surrounding the courts. So you have to be
Mm.
careful,
Yeah.
and you've got a solid, iron wall or steel or whatever they use on these days on
Yeah.
one side and glass on the other side. So it's either one is hard,
Yeah.
and or plexiglass.
Uh-huh.
And even on the solid wall, ships have these red emergency boxes that stick out about a foot. So you wouldn't want to run in, with
Oh.
you know solid corners, sharp corners
Yeah.
on them. And
Yeah.
that's what a fire extinguisher is in, or break
Yeah.
glass and whatever.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. So what we tended to do is if we hit a ball really close to the line and it put anybody in a dangerous position, we
Yeah.
just all agreed that no point. We're not trying to kill anybody here,
Yeah.
and we're on a cruise. We don't want anybody getting injured on a cruise. So
Yeah. No, that makes
so we
sense.
just yeah we just played over.
Hmm.
Naturally there are some people that are ultra 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 competitive, and others are not so much.
Hmm.
Um, but it went pretty well. And
Yeah.
anybody who hadn't heard of that before, I even explained it before we'd play that we don't want to get hit by the. I've told you about my first week playing pickleball running into a wall
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. So I'm cautious of that. Fortunately, that's the
Hmm.
only time, but it was like day one or two.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, I enjoyed it, and I've actually booked another cruise in February. So and it's on one of their newer ships, and it obviously has pickleball as well. But I enjoyed Holland America. I enjoyed the pickleball on it. On that cruise line, I'd say like the players I played with would be, I would say, between 45 and my age, and maybe one that might have been a bit older. So um, on the other cruise lines, like Carnival and all that, they have it, but those are more, oriented to a younger demographic in general.
Mm.
Carnival
Yeah.
Carnival owns Holland America, but they just build lines of ships and focusing on different demographics.
Yeah.
So, but pickleball on a ship was fun, and it introduces some challenges. It introduces some things that you don't run into at home, even if you're outside.
Yeah.
In other words, the wind, it may be windy, but it's consistent. It doesn't go from none to bang, to gale
Yeah.
force winds,
Uh-huh.
and so that's different. And I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to it again. I'm going to be going in February. So let's
Perfect.
see what.
Where's
Yeah,
that one cruising out of? Because you got a
I'm
different
doing a
spot, I'm
Caribbean
assuming in
one out of
February. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Caribbean one out of Fort Lauderdale, but it's to the Eastern Caribbean. So it's a full day travel before you even hit any, and then it's a bunch of like St. Thomas and out that way.
Oh, okay.
And there's some of the islands, or a number of the ones I've not been to, like Martinique and a few of them. So
Cool.
Saint Saint Vincent, Saint Kitts, is it? I can't
Hmm.
remember them off the top of my head, but a new one for me because I've been to Jamaica and Bahamas and Cuba, things like that quite often.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need to
So
take a cruise that went to them. Yeah.
I got a question.
Um,
What was the wait time to play pickleball on the cruise ship? Were there long lineups or
no,
no?
no.
Oh,
There
that's good
was,
then.
yeah, at most there was 8 people, on one at point on one, and now in one side of the ship. But
Yeah.
also, if they're waiting, they can go look on the other side and see what it's like up over there.
Mm,
So I never had
gotcha.
more than a 5 minute wait, 10 minute
Oh,
wait,
okay.
maybe.
And
Yeah, it wasn't massive.
did you just play a game to 11 then everybody comes off sort of deal, or how was the rotation?
Or if there was two people waiting, two came off. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We didn't, we tried to balance teams and things like that, but we didn't know who was going to be there. And I think we had a foursome one day that said, let's play again tomorrow. And so at least we did that.
Mm.
But it was a mixed bag. It was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. I was pleased. Oh, and it's Holland America is the official pickleball cruise line of the PPA tour. So
Oh,
the one side,
okay.
a big sign of it. Yeah. So obviously and you'll see their ads on PPA when you're watching the PPA tour on TV. They'll have it on their signage or their billboards,
Hmm.
and they have one on the ship on the side of the wall on
Hmm.
as well. So they're the official one. So if you like to support the PPA, that's the cruise line. In my case, I like to support. I wasn't worried about. Well, I wasn't worried about that, but I am a PPA fan. So it doesn't do any harm that the tour gets some money because, they lost a fortune over the last few years. So whatever. Anyway, let's see. What do we have next, Mark? Do you want to get
Big
into your lesson? We talked about a
my
lesson.
coaching
Would you like
tip.
to get into that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So right now I'm
Oh,
doing
and
coaching.
sorry, sorry to interrupt you. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the paddles we've been playing after your lessons. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so right now I've been coaching usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then the odd weekend here and there at Court and Kitchener, and just doing the skills and drills. They've really filled up. I'm getting requests for, individual ones with groups of 4 people and stuff like that, so that's been good. One thing that I was coaching the other day, so I wrote it down just for you, Pat, is dinking patterns and looking to level up your game. So this is for somebody that's probably at like the 3 to 3.5 area, and they're trying to, get up to that higher 3.4.0 type level. You have
Hmm.
to start to get in your mindset what you're looking to do with the ball. So when you get up to the kitchen line, everybody, all four of you are up at the kitchen line. What I'm trying to teach is you're not trying to win the point by dinking. I find that people hit their dinks way too hard, and it almost, they hit into the net, or they're hitting them out, or then the other person can attack them easily. Like, so work on a soft dink, but then work on the pattern of your dinks instead of the speed of your dinks. So all I teach is think right foot, left foot. So when I'm dinking against somebody, I think, okay, I'm going to hit this ball over the net, and they have to step with their right foot to be able to hit it back. And then I hit the next one, they have to step with their left foot to hit it back. And the idea is to just get them going side to side, because as soon as you get somebody going side to side, they're just naturally going to make more errors. If you have to take an extra step and swing to hit the ball, it's just creating more opportunity for them to either hit it into the net, or they'll pop it up, and then we look to smash and put the ball away. But when you're just dinking
Right.
normally, I'm not even trying to win the point on dink. You're not going to get a
Now,
dink past somebody.
are you generally going at the diagonal player?
Yes. Yeah. I'm usually
Yeah.
playing
Okay.
cross court with this.
Yeah.
It allows more room for air, dinking over the middle of the
Yeah.
net, and you have a longer distance to play with to be able to move that dink around. And you can
Yeah.
move them side to side a lot easier too. So you pull somebody out, and then you put something more towards the middle, and then they come back, and you after you do that, 2 or 3 times, you'll just see them start scrambling, and you're just like, then you're just sitting there waiting, just waiting for your
Right.
opportunity to then put the point away. So a tip with that is after you dink, you have to make sure you bring your paddle up to the ready position, because we are looking for the smash or the quick scorpion hit, that sort of thing, um,
Hmm.
to attack. Now, it doesn't have to be super fast attack. It just needs to be quick, but it doesn't have to be super hard. It just needs to be quick into a spot that they're not ready ready
Yep.
for. So just to the open
Yep.
area, essentially.
Yep. You go
Yeah.
super hard, chances are you plow it into the net.
Yes. No, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everybody is so close at that point. It just needs to be quick into an open area.
Yeah.
Ideally going for the feet or the open area is the two spots I'm always aiming for. If it's one of your really good buddies that you enjoy drinks with afterwards, then go right for the chest. If it's somebody you just
Tattoo
met, do
parlor.
not go for the
Welcome to
chest.
welcome to the tattoo parlor, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
when we're practicing this drill in the games, that stuff like that, you have to be 100% patient. So you're
yeah.
not allowed to speed anything up below your chest, sort of deal, right? You can only hit high balls. Anything below your waist or down, belly button or down, you return it soft again. No speed ups.
Right.
The idea is just learning patience, learning to control and move that ball from side to side, side to side.
Man,
Now, if you get no,
this is so relevant to me, by the way.
yeah, yeah. So the idea is once we get moving them side to side, then we look for our opportunity. Now, you can use this same strategy, not just dinking at the net. Like if you're at the kitchen line and your opponent's deep at the baseline, same idea. Hit one to their right foot so they have to step to their right. Hit one so they have to step to their left. Like you can use this against any opponent in the court anywhere. The idea is if you want to level up to that 4.0 type level, you need to start looking at the court, looking for opportunities. Where's the court open? And just say to yourself, I need to make sure they have to step either right or left to return my shot. And you'd be
Right.
surprised how many more errors you're going to see coming your way, and you'll just start winning just by on their errors instead of you making the errors. So while you're learning this, though, we're not smashing it super hard. We're more focused on the placement, the control of the shot, than
Yep.
the pace of the shot. You could say.
Yep. So
So
the takeaway I'm getting, first of all, you're hitting cross court. It's pretty hard to hit a good dink straight ahead
yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
without putting it too high.
Yeah, this yeah.
Um, yeah, and so cross court gives you a lot more room for error.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you're hitting to alternate sides. You're not rushing the play, trying to win too soon. You're basically letting your partner make you're letting your opponent make the mistake, whereas you're just
Yeah.
biding your time until they do it, and then when they do make the mistake and have your paddle ready, and then
Hmm.
just put it to where they ain't
Yep.
at that point. And
Hmm.
as you said, you can use that even if they're back.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
it. I like that a lot, and I as you're talking about it, I'm listening, but I'm also thinking about, oh yeah, this is right on for me.
Hmm.
So that's gold, Mark. I do appreciate it. I think that's really, really worthwhile.
Yep. Yep.
And
So yeah,
yeah,
like a lot of the focus lately has been more on footwork and mindset in my coaching. Especially
yeah,
the people that have been coming back they've been coming back a few times, and they're learning the skills. They're able to make the shots now, and now we're
yeah,
talking about, can you control where your shot is going? So when
yeah,
we're doing the drills now, I'm picking exact spots. I'd be like, okay, you need to be able to hit this sideline, and then your next shot that comes back has to hit the other sideline. You need to be
yeah,
able to move your feet and line up and keep putting stuff side to side. That's the next level to get you up to that 4.0 level, is you need to be able to move that ball around confidently
yeah,
on the court.
yeah. Hey, great lesson. Great lesson. Really relevant. I think really relevant to any intermediate level players, beginner level. Well, obviously beginner level players, but I think a lot of intermediates aren't doing
Yep.
that too.
Yep.
So thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, next item. Want to mention our pickleball paddle giveaways. We've done a number of them and given away a paddle when we had them. I hadn't had it on in the last while I was away, or while we were on hiatus. But we'll turn it on again now today. And so, if you want a free pickleball paddle, there's an opportunity. Go to Pickleball Today, our website, pickleballtoday.co/win, and just follow the instructions there. There's opportunities. You can get multiple opportunities, and it's all basically on social sharing, liking, commenting, and things like that on our videos, our podcast, our blog posts, or whatever. So it helps us spread the word. All that matters for us to reach a wider audience, and we have a lot of paddles. I mean, I literally lost count, and we all the paddle, yeah, we all the paddles we have given away have been of values of $180 to $250. So, um, yeah, so maybe one was even 300. So anyway, so paddles have been going up in price, and now we tend to promote a lot that aren't not ridiculously expensive, but I think we found a sweet spot in the market where we think Mark and I in general think paddles that are in the $100. Once they get above 100, if they're a carbon fiber type paddle, you're getting into a good enough paddle that is pretty much could be good for anybody. But then
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want to spend more, if you want to spend more, you can. Lots of different brands. I know we've talked a lot about 60. We've talked a lot about Selkirk. Um,
I like the bread and butters. Those have
and you like the
been
bread and butter. What
yep.
model do you have again?
I'm
What
hitting the
model?
Shogun right now.
Right, right.
I've had it for a little
So we
while
have
now, and I
links.
really like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have links to these on our site. Bread and Butter, by the way, is coming out with a new one in the next few
Ooh.
weeks. I even saw it this morning, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's another one, really wild and crazy stuff. This one is multi layers of fiberglass inside, and then multi layers of carbon outside. Fairly poppy type paddle. It's not what they'd call a Gen 3, but they're saying it's going to hit pretty hard. So
Cool.
um, I apologize for not remembering the name, and I'm not going to take time to look it up right now. So anyway, if you want to win a paddle, go to pickleballtoday.co/win, and just follow the instructions there, and that will be active before this video is. So the next thing is, what paddle have you been playing that bread and butter lately?
Yeah, I've been using it the last month or so. The
That's
Shogun,
yeah,
that's been
yeah.
my favorite. You
Well, I've
also,
had a number
yeah, what are you're
after
playing with
you.
something right now?
Well,
Something
I
different, aren't
am.
you?
Well, yeah, because I've been getting paddles in while I couldn't play, so I was really dying to try. I always liked the double black diamond, which was like the 2023 paddle of the year, and that was
Yeah,
one of the early thermoformed, maybe the first thermoformed carbon fiber paddle, um, a worldwide bestseller, and but it didn't have a very long grip. They didn't have an extended length version of it. Well, they've come out with one now, and I like a two-handed grip. In this one, I can put two full hands on it very comfortably, and I two-handed grip for my backhand because I can
yeah,
really control it. I can put topspin on it. Um, I can almost hook it if I wanted to, but
hmm,
I really feel like I have a lot more control with two hands on my backhand volleys than I do on, or even ground strokes, than I do with just one hand. Um, but this is a longer, extended length paddle with an extended length grip. So
oh, okay,
I like it. It feels good. It's not well, it's powerful only more so because it's longer, I would think, which is giving it a lot more velocity at the head,
yeah,
at the top, than a shorter paddle. But it's not an ultra hard paddle, so it's still an easy paddle to control. So I've gravitated to this recently. They also have a double black diamond edgeless that I like as well. But this is the one that I'm trying to not be playing a different paddle every time I go play. And I
yeah.
think this will be one that I'll be using for a little while, and just to get used to it. This 15 millimeters thick too, so it's a kind of a hybrid thickness.
Oh
You
yeah, it's a
know,
little skinnier than
what?
the 16 or whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I feel like
So
that I've
probably a little.
noticed, yeah, I've noticed a bunch of companies are coming out with 15 now. They're trying
Yeah,
to, instead of 16 or 14, they're doing just a
yeah.
15.
Yeah,
Um,
so and the 16s were
yeah.
generally the softer ones, and the
Hmm.
14s were
Yeah.
pretty hard. And
Yeah.
I found some 14s to be very hard. So, but I like that. To me, that's a good one for me. Won't be the be all and end all with so many paddles coming in, but I'm going to try to play it for the next month and just see what it's like to play one paddle for a month,
Oh, nice.
despite what we get or what comes in, other than doing reviews and things like that. I haven't even put up a review. And again, this is one of the reasons we haven't done anything, because I couldn't play. I couldn't do any reviews. I don't like to review a paddle without having played with it. That's not right. You know, we
True.
we try to be honest about what we're saying. And
Hmm.
if I haven't even played with something, it's hard to give any kind of,
Yeah.
honest feedback about something. So yeah, we don't do ultra scientific reviews the way some guys do. But it's generally, does it feel good in my hands? Does it feel good? Can I play well with it? Is what counts to me.
Yeah.
Now, you're not me.
It's
People
more of
watching are not me.
a recommendation to different levels of players is kind of where we
Yeah,
focus.
that's
Especially
that's
being
that's the
a
way we do
coach
it.
and stuff like that, you always get asked all the time, like, "Hey, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
a 3.2. I'm trying to get better." Based on how you play your game, you're a banger or a soft player or whatever. I'd be like, okay, this
yeah,
paddle is probably where you want to go if you're ready to upgrade. I would try this one out based on the style that
yeah,
you play. We focus more on style of play and what level players are at, sort of deal, than all the nitty gritty
yeah.
insides of a paddle. But
And I'm a little bit. I've been doing lessons again with Cambridge Pickleball Club for new players,
mhm.
because we've opened up to new. So I didn't have to do it for a while because the club was full, and gradually everybody was trained and playing okay. And I feel I'm only qualified to teach beginners or a little bit beyond beginners. So, but now we've opened up more our membership again, and so now I have more of those. So on Thursday nights, I'll tend to be doing a beginner lesson, and again, every time we're there, I'll take a few different ones, let people try them out, things like that. So,
Yeah.
and I try to even as part of a beginner X lesson, take 2 minutes or 3 minutes to explain the difference in paddles.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
people
exactly.
often,
That's part of learning
yeah,
too. When you're joining, there's so many paddles out in the market,
yeah,
and people are just
yeah,
like, I have no idea what to buy or what to look for.
yeah,
And
yeah,
as a coach like us, we can usually recommend a couple that are in the right area or right price point for what the person's looking
yeah,
for.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, inevitably, a new player comes in with, I've had people come in with wooden paddles, plastic paddles,
Hmm.
um, and then most so, $29 Amazon paddles, which are, you can play with, but they're hard as a rock and you
Yeah.
can't control
Yeah.
them very easy, right? Or
Yeah.
they're fiberglass. So, so it's making the game a little bit more difficult. But if they don't know if they're ever going to play again, I understand it. That's the point.
Yeah. No,
They
that's a
may
good
not.
point.
They may not know, right?
Yeah. I
So
feel
nobody wants
like
to go spend.
yeah. I feel like once somebody is gonna start playing at least once a week, you need to spend probably at least $80 to $100 on a paddle
Yeah,
for you to
and we've
actually
recommended some.
enjoy it and start to learn the shots and the touch and the techniques and stuff. You
Yeah,
need to spend around there. Yeah.
yeah. That things like you mentioned the $80 ones, the Jelly Bean from 11/6/24. We have it
Oh yes.
again
Yep.
on our website.
The courts
The
from
uh, the
six
quartz from
zero.
60, they're 89.
Yeah.
Each of these is $89. 60 even ships to Canada for
Yeah.
free.
Hmm.
89 US, but we give you a discount, and if you buy some tape or something, you'll get it over 100, and they ship for free. By the way, they will be shipping from Canada in the near future, so we won't be contending with duty or anything like that.
Oh, perfect.
There's no official. I know the date, but I don't think I can announce it. And um, but I was talking to the owner of 60 the other day, and he had told me about it a while ago. Then I hadn't heard, so I just sent him an email, and we got back, and he filled me in. But it's not. They haven't made it public yet, so I've just leaked a little exclusive news that the neat thing is
Hats
that
on
means
the
that we will.
inside.
Yeah. So he didn't say don't tell. So, but you know what? I know their shipment of paddles is on the way to Canada,
Nice.
which means
Nice.
when it gets here and they finalize the logistics,
Yeah.
but a container of paddles is on the way. So, and that means that when our pricing then is technically will be cheaper than a retailer because we've got the discount.
Perfect.
That we got. So anyway, if anybody wants one of our paddles, we'll have it in our show notes. One of the paddles we've talked about, we'll have it in the show notes in that. And with that said, I think this may be one of our shorter episodes at 38 minutes, but it's good to get our feet back under us and get going again, and we'll be back
Yeah.
every week. I didn't mention, by the way, we're going to I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast. We will be having special guests coming on pretty much all alternate weeks in the future. I'm not announcing any guests yet, but I will next week. And
Perfect.
and it'll make it, and at that point, it may just be one of us and the guest, or both of us, and then we bring a guest on and one of us gets off, because three's kind of hard for a guest to deal with if we're all questioning, if we're both questioning. But anyway,
Yeah.
hey folks, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Anything you can do to help us spread the word, we'll be here. Again, we're covering pickleball in Canada, and there haven't been a lot of pro tournaments in Canada recently, so we didn't talk about it. We often talk about PPA Tour and MLP and things. We didn't today. We just had a lot to catch up on. But with our U.S. viewers, our Canadian viewers, we do appreciate you. And again, enter our contest at pickleballtoday.co/win. And you've got a good chance. It's not like we have tens of thousands of listeners. So you've got a good chance to win a good paddle. So thank you again. Thank you, Mark. Good to see you again. Good that we're actually back again, and we actually get, and I actually get to play.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'll see you tonight at the courts.
I will see you tonight. Okay. Thanks,
Perfect.
everyone. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
You've been listening to Pickleball Today, the podcast version of Pickleball Today, Canada's national pickleball news source. Pickleball, obviously, is our passion. And no matter what it is, if it's happening in pickleball in Canada, we're your premier source to bring it all to you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. Find our website at pickleballtoday.co. On Facebook at PCKL Ball Today. On Instagram at pickleball_today. On YouTube at Pickleball Today Canada. And on Twitter at Pickleball Today. See you next time.